This presentation looks at how the Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia, the man who is thought of as the god of Rastafari, has had a unique and powerful effect in the world. Specifically, we're going to examine his mysterious and powerful symbol, compare it to a similarly intriguing symbol, and analyze the question, what does it mean for symbols and names to have or emit energy? And does this knowledge add to the understanding of the emperor as a godlike being rather than just the revered king of an ancient African nation or stalwart of Pan-African ideology? We began our research into this presentation looking for examples of divine symbology and discovered this first image, a 15th century so-called magic scroll showing 4 encircled diagrams which feature some peculiar designs, and among these we see what is known as the cross petit. Included with the image is the following description, claiming that this familiar cross shape represents the name of God. Quote, magical materials were widely adapted for different uses. The scroll was designed to be worn as an amulet for personal protection. Of the 4 magical diagrams shown here, the first gave protection against enemies, the second against storms and thunder, the third claims that by it all things were made, and the fourth claims, this is the name of God. Whoever carries it with him will be safe. Unquote. This image came out of England, but the scroll transcends international borders in antiquity. Similar depictions also appear in so-called Ethiopian magic scrolls. The scroll is also accompanied by the assertion, this magic is entirely Christian and virtuous, declaring that the spirits would never answer the requests of the wicked. A statement no doubt intended to push back against any contenders' charges of the images being used for demonic purposes. We know that during this period in Europe, there were individuals who attempted to amalgamate the practice of magic with Christianity and were subsequently forced underground because of the danger of being caught using it. In any case, because this image involves magical practice, we know that the term name attributed to the cross-petit symbol is to be understood in the context of it being a cryptic term that is not referring to an elementary standard of written or spoken words. It's possible that magic practitioners during the period when the scroll was created in Europe, as well as the modern monotheistic cultures who limit this particular symbol to their religious belief, adopted it from much earlier understandings from the ancient past, or perhaps it was acquired through an individual who received it in a dream or meditative state. Such speculative information is likely lost to history by now. But let's look to an interesting configuration of subtle energy fields which may offer evidence of this supposition. Take a look at the image presented here. If we were to transform the cross petit into a 3D form, each of the 4 extensions become vortices or trumpet shapes. This 4-poled shape is naturally produced by crossing 2 such fields, known as torus fields, in a manner as displayed on the left side of this graphic. A torus energy field emits from the human body form and a multiple of other physical forms. In human beings, it is shown that this field courses around the body as a subtle energy complex. Further, according to some researchers, in this intersecting configuration of 2 torus forms, the name of God is purportedly a space and time portal that links consciousness and the fantastic products of consciousness to other dimensions of reality and to the source, or in other words, God. The subject of torus fields delves into deep aspects of esoteric philosophy, which also encompasses information about scalar waves, sound frequency, and DNA coherence, which can all be thought of as metaphysical mediums that produce torus fields. It is not a great leap to surmise that the energy power in the cross-petit symbol may derive from these torus fields, and it is this derivation that speaks to the knowledge of such organic elemental energy configurations as being fundamental and therefore, as we alluded to before, possibly originating from a prior ancient civilization, an extraordinary psychical state, or even interaction with a non-human advanced intelligence. As far-fetched as this sounds, we must take these last 2 into consideration based on a large body of evidence that points to such phenomena. Now, concerning sacred names, we'd like to note going forward that we'll be speaking of the term name not as code for attributes of a sublime shape or symbol, nor are we addressing words containing sonic impressions powered by pronunciation or frequency. That is another vast subject entirely, the metaphysical science of sound. But rather, we'll be focusing on the energetic quality deriving from the emperor's name and the corresponding symbol that depicts the majesty himself. The two images pictured here are, in a manner of speaking, different manifestations of the same being, translated into spoken language as Kedamawi Haile Selassie in Amharic, or First Power of Trinity in English. The Trinity concept here is in context to the Christian formula of the threefold person of God. The left image is the physical person, the Emperor Haile Selassie I, the mytho-poetic identity as the apocalyptic Christ King. He, as an archetypal icon in this regard, represents ascended beingness in universal power and judgment. The pedigree of Judean royal lineage connects him to the Christological apocalyptic narrative. The right image is a 6-point geometric form that was not conceived to be an artistic ornament. It is not merely a stylized version of the hexagram, the so-called Seal of Solomon, also known as the six-pointed Star of David, or in 3D form referred to as the Merkaba. This typical hexagram version is popularly associated with Judaism and has been present in Ethiopia as a symbol of Judaic heritage for centuries, which makes His Majesty's unique variation stand out even more. The Trinity power symbol is noticeably atypical and conspicuous, even arguably out of place in its sleek geometric 3D appearance compared to the traditional crafted works of Ethiopian artisans, which appear more handcrafted and rustic. It can be seen in many historical photos of him, likely having caught the attentions of those encountering it in Ethiopia in the presence of the emperor. We submit here that by its public display, the Trinity power symbol has been absorbed throughout human collective conscious and, as such, translates as an energy resonance to each person on a worldwide scale. Now, what we are talking about when we say collective consciousness relates to the science of morphogenetics, or perhaps also the theory of a holographic universe. Another similar popular theory one may be familiar with is the 100th monkey theory. We won't explain each of these here, but in basic terms, the research in these areas of study has shown that there is essentially no true spatial separation, that in any part there contains the whole, or that one is all. Individuation is somewhat of an illusion. In other words, when it comes to ideas about individual perception, these theories point to the idea that when one person sees or does something, it actually becomes registered in all persons at a deep subconscious level. This phenomena of a metaphysical interactive reality combined with the concept of psychodynamic archetypal resonance is yet another piece of the puzzle showing how these types of symbols, and in the case of the emperor with his corresponding archetypal personage, resonate in the world with potency. These aspects of the nature of reality go on to explain many things about the emperor and about so-called prophetic fulfillment that we will discuss in a future presentation. The Trinity power symbol is an example of a shape containing energy resonance different from the cross patee, in regard to the latter being clearly formed within the configuration of crossed torus fields. We are unaware of any other energy fields that, when overlaid upon each other or conjoined in some other manner, will thusly produce the Trinity power shape. But despite these distinctive differences, we thought it worthy to draw a comparison between them as examples of symbols that possess energy and are considered to be the name of God, or the name of a God being. Another difference we notice between the two symbols is that the emperor's symbol is not cryptic or decipherable only to adepts, or ones possessing esoteric understanding. The Trinity power symbol is not considered to be an item of some taboo magic practice. On the contrary, it is transparent and relevant in our modern age, just as His Majesty's works are. In our view, the greatest example of this truth is that His Imperial Majesty was given the official title, the Light of the World, meaning that His radiant energy shines for all as a beacon of truth and justice. To begin to unlock the energy of the Trinity power symbol and thereby resonate with the power within the Majesty, one need only examine and extend love towards the Emperor, what he stood for, and his actions towards world peace and progress. For example, his vigilance in defending humanity against spiritual wickedness was illustrated in his epic battle against Italian fascist aggression in the 1930s that sought to destroy him, his nation, and the world. His redeeming power is also encapsulated in his exclusive apocalyptic Christological moniker, the Lion of Judah prevails. What we are saying is that as ones apply open, humble-hearted contemplation towards his archetypal kingly image, his wise mind and acts, one can then resonate with his symbol and thereby also receive the energy of it and strengthen their spirit. Such transpersonal phenomena deeply imbues reality experience through a psychodynamic mechanism, bringing one closer to the realm of the Rastafari mystique and understanding, an aspect of so-called God realization. So, is the Emperor's name and symbol magical? If this descriptor is defined as a subtle element of intentional, influential energy, then we would answer in the affirmative, that his name and symbol can be loosely defined as such, though such terminology may be too extravagant or vague for communicating the underlying facts. We came across this quote by an author named W.L. Graham, and we'll repeat it here because we think it's a potent idea that's relevant to the previous statement about terms like magic or many other common words used in religion. Quote, "It is true that whenever we find preferred traditions and entrenched dogma held in tension with new discovery and scholarly enlightenment, controversy inevitably arises. Nevertheless, as we search for a better understanding of ourselves and our universe, we must be willing to allow many of our long-cherished assumptions to wander off to graze with other sacred cows of the past, long abandoned to childhood memory, and begin to replace yesterday's church speak with a more accurate contemporary communication of theological concepts." Unquote. In the realm of arcane formulas and extraordinary events, one's study into matters beyond the rational materialistic knowledge paradigm deserves the interjection of the epic of the Emperor's light workings, and we say this with great seriousness and concern for humanity's welfare. This epic expresses how his presence in the modern era has promulgated a quality of energy that exists for the struggle to defeat negative forces and promote love and progress. Whether the masses are aware of it or not, this quality has proceeded from the throne and burned through the world as a psychic battle between negative forces of control and the spiritual heart of love. So back to our initial question. What does it mean for symbols and names to have or emit energy or power? And what does this reveal about the Emperor as a king, a god, even a great force of the liberation vibration worldwide? We believe the above discussion paints a vivid picture that contextualizes the energetic transmission of the Emperor Haile Selassie I and his distinguished symbol, for he alone possesses archetypal distinction as the embodiment of global redemptive power in the current age. In closing, we wish to give tribute to Rastafari ones and ones for their vigilance and impact they have had on us and the world at large. We welcome viewers to join in this examination by adding your comments below, and join us again when we will be speaking more on the subject of the King archetype in forthcoming presentations. Truth Power.